Hello, my name is Stephen Williams, author of Ingenious Britain, 101 Innovations that Changed the World. And in my upcoming book, I'm going to be bringing to life the rich and spectacular history of Great Britain. This is a nation at the very core of the development of the modern world. Indeed, it isn't easy to imagine our 21st century lives without its positive impact and moments of genius from its people, examples of which are all around us. Having spent many years living, working and studying abroad, I was staggered that a nation with less than 1% of the world's population, 0.8% to be precise, has had such a disproportionate impact on its cultural, economic, industrial, philosophical, political and of course technological development. And one fascinating observation is just how widely diffused that impact is across so many different fields, from medicine, engineering and science, through to philosophy, literature, music, art, sport and culture. Some of the finest minds in history have come from Great Britain, changing the course of human progress with their theories, their ideas and their concepts. People like Sir Isaac Newton, Charles Darwin and of course Stephen Hawking. But the book also looks at the work of Florence Nightingale, who founded the modern discipline of nursing, Richard Trevithick and George Stephenson with the train locomotive and the steam engine, Joseph Swan and electrical lighting, Alexander Fleming and penicillin. There's a chapter on computing and the huge work of Britons like Charles Babbage, Ada Lovelace with her programming, and Alan Turing. There's also another on Tim Berners-Lee's and the World Wide Web. Now that was a big idea. But we also spend time looking in the book at William Wilberforce and his campaign for the abolition of slavery, a practice that had existed for thousands of years up until then. In more modern times, we look at the work of David Attenborough and how he has helped so many people to get a better understanding of the natural world that we inhabit. And then we have Robert Baden-Powell, who founded the Scouts, a movement that today still has 50 million members across 200 different countries. There's a section on literature. Of course, it will cover the works of William Shakespeare, Charles Dickens and Christopher Marlowe. But also, it will include the most famous literary sisters of them all, Charlotte, Emily and Anne Bronte, Mary Shelley and Frankenstein, George Orwell and Animal Farm and his very prescient 1984. And in children's literature, the works of C.S. Lewis and the Chronicles of Narnia, Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Roald Dahl and perhaps the most famous of them all, J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter. In music, the book looks at British artists that have led the world for decades, from the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Queen, Elton John, through to more modern day like the Spice Girls, Coldplay, Adele, Ed Sheeran. And then there's also a section on sport and the quite phenomenal achievement one nation has been able to invent, codify and develop so many sports, from football, rugby, cricket, tennis, golf, boxing, squash, ping pong, badminton and thoroughbred horse racing, a list that is quite incredible. The book will also look at the advent of the common law system, the genesis of the public museum, the nature reserve and the public park, the cash machine, the lawnmower, factories, the fields of geology, paleontology and archaeology. In gastronomy, there's a chapter on the sandwich, the chocolate bar, sparkling mineral water, the thermos flask and the wine bottle. And in fashion, we look at the Wellington boot and the Macintosh coat. So if you'd like to find out a lot more on all of these topics and several others, then please like the video, subscribe to the channel and perhaps buy the book Ingenious Britain. My name is Stephen A.T. Williams and thank you very much for listening.